Audio sync in 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah. There we go. Audio synced up now. This stream is not sponsored by LaCroix.
But it should be.
Yeah, that's some actually good water.
But it could be. I know.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, because it's like 90 degrees in this third.
If you see that we're sweating, it's not our makeup. It's
All right. So whenever you want to start, I can.
Hi,
We're all recording.
As you can see, this is not the studio. This is Studio B.
AKA my house.
Yep, we're over at Owen's house, living the dream. We set up here.
Got our popcorn all set.
Nom 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 nom.
Ready to.
If you heard in our last podcast at the beginning and end, we mentioned a watch party. And here we are with a watch party.
Today's watch party is featuring Leonard Nimoy.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Exactly. And he's going to tell us how we can find ourselves a Bigfoot.
Yes, this is the first official Bigfoot on this channel.
We got many stories, but
yeah, I could think of one.
That's an inside joke. But yes, this is In Search of Bigfoot with Leonard Nimoy from...
It looks like he did a series or something like that.
Yeah, it was just called In Search of.
That's pretty cool.
Found everything but a girlfriend.
Oh.
Taking those first shots while I still can. All right. Ready to sync this up and get going?
So if you're just listening to the audio, or I don't know why, we're just going to sync it up if you just want to watch it and have us in the background. Obviously, it's going in the video right now. But, Owen, on go after 3. All right, ready? All right, 1, 2, 3, go. Playing, boys.
Yeah, this is looking
The
official.
audio's working.
A giant, hairy creature, part ape, part man. Indians call him Sasquatch. They believe he is as gentle as he is powerful and mysterious. He's been seen many times in the rugged mountains and deep woods of the Pacific Northwest. The encounters have not always been peaceful.
He's just got that
In
voice.
1924,
Oh, no, he
small
just sounds
group
so
of men
smart
were working
and
a mine in a canyon near Mount St. Helens in Washington.
Like a Vulcan.
One night, the miners took their weapons inside and bolted the
I think he
door.
just narrates.
Oh, yeah.
Thought they were secure for the
Gonna
evening.
pay for him to even show up.
Outside, something strange was happening. The cabin was under attack.
Oh, I'm getting Curse of Bigfoot flashbacks now.
Rain
Can
on
we
the
just
roof,
tone it down a bit?
And someone, or something, was trying to break in.
Holy crap, dude, they're loaded.
Yeah, they're ready for some
I don't
action.
want to be Bigfoot right now.
The miners later described their attackers as large, hairy apes. The siege lasted several hours.
Dude, just let him in, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Gonna get lit up.
Look, you got the Diet Mountain Dew.
So your Jehovah's Witness jokes here.
What? It gets real out in California.
Oh, are they in California?
I have no idea. That's just where all of these old stories come from. What the heck?
Just shoot without cocking the
The
gun.
miners
Gotcha.
escaped injury that night.
Yep, it's
The
California.
area now known as Ape Canyon is one of the many places in the
Canyon,
Northwest where man continues his hunt for this elusive creature we call Bigfoot. Many people do not believe in Bigfoot, but a lot of people do. And some of them feel they must kill it to prove it exists.
That's how I'm at right now.
It's about to drop dead, I'll tell you that.
This series presents information based in part on theory and conjecture. The producer's purpose is to suggest some possible explanations, but not necessarily the only ones, to the mysteries we will examine.
All right.
To the Indians living along the Columbia River in Oregon and Washington, or those in Canada, there is no need for proof of Bigfoot.
Oh, okay. Well, wrap it up on.
Bigfoot has been a part
Good
of Indian lore
chat
as
tonight,
long
boys.
as they've inhabited this land.
No need
Some
for proof.
anthropologists
We're
believe
done.
that the creature could have come to the northwestern part of the United States along with the Indians.
It's a man with the nose
Across
of
a
a
land
raccoon.
bridge that once connected Siberia to Alaska. The newcomers to this country have seen Bigfoot in an area ranging
Bigfoot
from
is
northern
Asian?
California to southwest British Columbia.
Yeah, he came over on the land bridge.
To the Indian, Bigfoot carries a mystical significance. Sometimes it's difficult to tell where myth ends and reality begins. In our modern world of
Oh, hey, they
concrete
could
and
afford
steel,
him.
we're far removed from the Indian lore of Bigfoot.
I wanted.
It's hard to imagine any corner of our crowded world where a giant,
Uncool
man-like
dude.
creature could roam free.
I can't remember.
Yet there's persuasive evidence that Bigfoot is real, and that urban man may be close to his first meeting with this living legend.
Little did he
It
know.
is felt by some scientists that Bigfoot falls somewhere in this progressive chart of man. A giant hominid
It's just one
related
man,
to, but not
10
like
feet
modern
tall.
Yeah,
man.
just pick one of them, dude.
According to this theory,
No,
Bigfoot
look
would
like
have
Bigfoot to
pursued
you?
a course of evolution
Bigfoot.
separate
I
but
mean, Charles
parallel to
Darwin
his
wrote
human
about
cousin.
Bigfoot.
Dr. Grover Krantz is an anthropologist at Washington State University.
Its locomotion is the human design, so we know it's probably our closest
What?
living relative. But in terms of anything
That a young
mental
Tom Hanks?
characteristics, no, it's not human. So it is a mixture of ape and human characteristics. And if you
The
want to call
Sasquatch
that a
convention,
link,
Alan.
that's fine. Now, this is a cast of a jawbone of something that I think is actually the Sasquatch. This is a jaw that's anatomically in between human and ape in its teeth, but it's much larger than any living ape, much larger than a gorilla, for instance.
What?
These are known from fossils about 1 million
Not
years
gonna
old
lie,
in
those kind of smell
China,
for a gorilla.
and it has been named Gigantopithecus.
Ah,
And it has
Gigantopithecus.
precisely the
Gigantopithecus.
characteristics that our Sasquatch
Come to me on
has.
the day
So
my
I'm inclined
daughter's
to think
wedding.
that this
Oh, sorry.
species just simply is continuing today.
The most convincing
There we
visual
go.
evidence of Bigfoot is a
There
film
we are.
taken by Roger Patterson in Northern California. Dr. Krantz believes it to be authentic.
I've examined the film many times, watching it
Oh.
forward, backwards, stop frame, measured, and everything.
Inverted,
And all
zoomed
of the
in,
anatomy
enhanced.
of the creature is perfectly consistent. It just simply does not fit with a man wearing a suit. In fact, a suit of that size, we can establish exactly how big it is. There's no way a man could fit into it. The shoulders and chest are simply too
Didn't
Oh,
wide.
they, like, prove this to
The
you?
feet are properly
I don't think they
designed
did,
for
did they?
carrying that kind of
I
body
thought they
weight,
did.
and that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe not.
Unless you've got a body of that size.
I don't
And
know,
Patterson could not have faked any of this stuff. I talked to him about some of
Couldn't
the
have
things I
faked
saw,
it.
and he didn't even understand what I was talking about.
Reports of Bigfoot sightings in the Northwest go all the way back to 1811. There have been some in other parts of the United
Part of the
States,
gold rush.
but most have come in the area from Northern California to British Columbia.
1811.
In 1882,
Were we
British
even over
Columbia
there in
newspaper
1811?
published the story of
I
railroad
don't know.
workers who saw and captured a creature they called Jacko.
Jack 'em up, boys.
No one seems to know what happened to that creature, but the hunt for others has brought headlines all across the United States. There have been an estimated 2,000 reported sightings of Bigfoot. Half of those are considered fakes. The other half are very real, especially to those who live in this rugged country and who've seen with their very own eyes, seen something strange and sometimes
Don't look
frightening.
I'd been down to my folks's, and Cindy was with me, and we decided it's time to go home. And so we left, and
Louis Alway and his daughter Cindy of Stevenson, Washington, returning home one night from visiting his parents, came across something they'd never seen before.
it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and Cindy was sleeping on the floor, on their seat.
Filling in
I
comedic
come around the corner there,
silence.
and there it was. It looked to me like he had just come over the top of the guardrail there. I woke her up and she got to see it just before.
It's just like Unsolved Mysteries,
At first, I
Isaac,
thought it
with
wasn't
Leonard
there,
Nimoy.
But when it took off across the road on its hind legs, I just couldn't believe it.
So I got out my pistol.
And I see a lot of game
I
all the
started
time, and
blasting.
it looked like something that I'd never saw before.
3 or 4 years ago, we received a call in the late part of the fall. The people who own this cabin back here said they'd found some tracks of what they thought was a large animal. And we came out and investigated that.
Be a bear.
Back here by the tree, we found several tracks that were real large. way larger than a human. I sure wonder about it.
Sheriff William Klausner of Skamania County in Washington has investigated tracks and talked with eyewitnesses. He's seen too much to be totally skeptical.
He's seen too
The
much.
most unique thing about what we've learned from
He's
this
not gonna
is
be
that
in
the people who have
Search
either
of
written
Two.
or called, who have experienced the same kind of thing or had seen tracks, mention of a strong sulfur smell. And that's,
Dude, this is still
real
100
unusual.
times better
As
than
Sheriff Klausner says,
In
the
Search of
smell
Bigfoot or
description
whatever.
is not unusual.
that History Channel is.
James Strahan and Harold Teskey recently saw something on the roadside
Talking about the
near
documentary
Colton,
we
Oregon.
watched, or are you talking about the one show?
Big, huge,
No, like the
object
History
on the
Channel
left
show.
Of the road,
Oh, yeah, you're
and,
talking
I
about like
rolled
all
the
those
window
like
down
rednecks, so
from
it was
the car,
like,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
this thing was
Like, how do we
approximately
make
3
Duck
1/2,
Dynasty
4
happen
feet
again?
wide, about
Oh, Bigfoot.
6-7 foot tall. And the odor of this animal,
This is like the beginning of the
after I
Blair Witch
rolled the window
Project,
down,
where they're just interviewing
was so
people.
offensive that I couldn't
I've
feel
never
it
seen
very
that
long.
movie.
I haven't either, but
And
I've
I'm
seen the
scared
thumb,
too. And I've,
the Blair
I've
thumb.
been around the mountains,
Oh,
and
yeah,
around
the
the
Blair
animals
thumb.
a lot, and this thing truly scared me. And so I got out of there and rolled the windows up. In the
He's
car
just
and went
ready
on
to
home.
like pull away in case this interview goes
And,
sour.
the odor of that animal stayed in that car until the next morning. It was
I've
still
said
in
too
there.
much, I gotta go.
Is that Joe Biden?
1 mile outside the dam,
Bigfoot
Oregon,
was bad,
several
dude.
members of the Bigfoot Investigation Project and Information
He
Center
ran a gang
climbed
of
to an
bad
observation
boys.
point. They're led by Peter Byrne,
Got a
50-year-old adventurer
Link.
and former
chain
big game
gang.
hunter in Nepal. Byrne has dropped his rifle in favor of camera and binoculars.
No, you
For
could do
5
both.
years,
Yep.
he's headed the Bigfoot Investigation Project and stalked these North Woods, checking out every story and every set of tracks. His prey is
Why
elusive.
are his knees so dirty?
We will talk to the person who says that they've
Crouching.
seen one. We will talk to their family, perhaps to their
Is he
employers
British?
or employees. We'll talk to
It
the
is
local police
British
to see if they know,
Columbia.
to find out if the
You're right.
person is simply a joker, a hoaxer of some kind,
What is
or
that,
if they're
that
a
Bronco?
person of reputation
Looks like a Bronco.
and of known integrity. And then
Could
we'll
ask
go and see the
OJ, he
person,
likes
we'll
those
interview them,
cars.
and of course we'll try and get to the place of the actual sighting as quickly as possible.
One of the most credible sightings took place near Mount Hood, Oregon in 1974. 2 loggers, Jack Cochran and Furman Osborne, were working in an area of fallen timber. Cochran explains what he saw.
I looked off towards the woods, and I saw these
Down
2
over
long
yonder.
legs moving at the edge of the timber.
Most
and as
credible
this thing
people listen.
walked, it walked with a glide, and then it reached an arm out and kind of touched a tree as it walked by. And I saw these wide shoulders, and then it just moved off down the hill.
J.C. Rourke and I were up
Oh
on
my
that
goodness,
little
we
hill
found
there
it.
I thought that was
setting jokers.
Bigfoot for a second.
Cats
It's red
came down the
green.
line and he didn't come back, so we decided to walk
He's
out
even
in
got the whistle.
woods on the timber so we could be in the shade. And we heard this commotion there in the brush, and we saw this big monster going out through there. And I yelled for my buddy. I wanted him to see him. And
This is
I
like red
started
green.
running. I wanted to get a closer look at him, and we chased him over the ridge there. And at one time, I was
Gotta
within
look
50 feet
really
of him.
excited.
Whatever Osborne chased through the woods left him far behind. Cochran, an amateur artist, tried to sketch what he saw.
He was tall, long-legged,
Them cheeks, them
hairy.
cheeks, they clapping.
very broad shoulders, and his head seemed to just spring up out of his shoulders, no neck. The arms were long, and in proportion than a human.
There is persuasive evidence that men may be closing in on Bigfoot. What will the hunters
Closing in on him,
do if
boys.
they find him?
We gonna find him.
And we'll just smooth it out a little bit, make sure it runs into all the cracks and corners.
I don't know
And
the
that's
first
really
guy
all
that
there
came
is
with
to
an
it.
idea to do that.
Peter Byrne, professional Bigfoot investigator.
Before doing this. And now
Hundreds of
Of course she's
unexplained
British.
footprints have
Of
been
course she's a
found in these
professional
woods.
rifle investigator.
They receive close examination by
I
the
feel like if you have a
experts.
British accent, you just
this
sound
is a faster
smarter.
cast
Yeah.
of an actual
So,
footprint.
I don't
here.
think they'd
And
allow it
it's,
if he was just a regular
13.5
American
inch
guy.
cast.
Wow, he's
And it
over
has a
there.
number of
He's a
peculiarities.
professional.
One is the normal bulge behind the big toe or the hallux, and then
Look at
the
that
second
toe.
bulge.
That is.
And this is peculiar to all of the
As you can
footprints
tell,
that we
the
have seen.
aluminium is quite
Nobody really knows
differential
what causes this second bulge.
to this
Perhaps,
big
a
toe,
muscle
according
of
to the
some kind
sole of
support
the
enormous
pulmonary
weight.
muscle.
This is a
I
cast
used a
an
lot of
individual
petrol
that's
getting
very
up here.
obviously crippled. And I studied this some length and found these two bulges on the outside of the foot. Anatomically, they have to correspond to a couple of gaps in the bones on the foot
Staring at his
themselves.
balls.
I'm staring at these
The bulges in a normal human foot
Studying
expanded to this
them.
size would have been here, but they're shifted forward. Well, anatomically, this means that the ankle weight is
I've
shifted
never
somewhat
come
forward.
across
It's
a
not
guy
just
that had a
gigantic
voice that made
human
me
foot.
want to go to sleep
It's the leverage has been redesigned.
until I watched this guy.
And this happens to be redesigned just exactly the way it would have to be for a 800-pound animal. So if the idea of that this was faked by somebody isn't quite so
Like, you
simple.
could
If it was
be telling
fake,
me
it
the
was,
cure for
done
cancer,
by
and I would just
a
be
human
like,
anatomist who was a real
oh,
genius,
sorry.
and he had to have laid out thousands of these fakes all over the place, and that just simply becomes impossible.
Among
No,
the fakeries
it's
that
possible,
we have
trust
seen
me.
is a piece of film made in 1970 by a man in northern Washington. At first, it looked
Wow.
very good. It was
That's that
a
image.
man in a fur suit, of course. The particular man tried to sell it to us for $25,000.
Is it two
And
Bigfoots?
he told us that the creature in this movie was 8 foot 6 inches in height. But when we found the area, we were able to do our own measurements, and we saw that the creature in the fur suit, or the man in the fur suit, was a little under 6 feet in height. This is, I think, is a good example of the kind of fakery that we have encountered through the years.
Throughout the Northwest, there are hundreds of men hunting for Bigfoot. Don Peterson,
Dude, this is
Jack
like-
Sullivan, and James Huskin have searched for several years. They believe the hunt will end
Like some
with a
dudes that
bullet.
just come together on a weekend.
Somebody's going to bring one in. It's the only way. Pictures aren't going to be enough because there's been film taken.
I was about
of
to
these,
say, it's a good thing
One
furry
of these
conventions
creatures
weren't
in
around yet.
and it's in dispute.
Bigfoot's hiding in the furry
Like
convention zone.
Jim said,
That's
if
how
we
he migrates.
take a bunch of pictures, they're going to be under dispute. And if you can shoot one animal, you might be able to save the rest of them from everybody else from shooting them too.
And that sets up a conflict
I don't
among
think you have to worry
Bigfoot
about
hunters.
everybody else going and
It
shooting
doesn't have to be
Bigfoot.
killed to prove it exists.
There's another one.
Through the centuries, the mighty Columbia River separating Washington
Harvesting
and Oregon
Bigfoot
cut a deep
foots.
gorge on its way to the Pacific Ocean.
There's a huge
It is
market
a
for
big,
it.
rugged, beautiful land
Black market.
where man holds a deep respect for nature. In Stevenson, Washington, they passed an ordinance setting a $10,000 fine or 5 years in jail for killing a Bigfoot. The people living in this country have a special relationship to the woods.
That's we can't go there.
They depend on the land for their survival.
I guess so.
They may not totally
If I'm
believe
getting
in
him, I'm
Bigfoot,
bagging him.
but
Bagging
they
and
believe in the
tagging.
possibility.
Tag him.
Did you know he was
They don't want it killed.
he at one
least
point
not
in
in
the
their
USSR he was
District Attorney Robert Leake.
an
We
endangered
didn't
species.
feel that if there was
Dude,
such
I
an
feel
animal
like
that
if Bigfoot would be
the
anywhere,
animal
he
had ever
would be in
harmed
the USSR.
anybody, or that it
I mean,
had
think
done
about
anything
it.
to deserve
How
to be
big the
shot
country
or
is?
captured.
It's a lot of hiding space,
We need a
dude.
piece of the body.
Russians don't
Nothing
care
else
either.
will be
They're like, wow.
accepted.
I think that there are many other ways of proving an existence of something other than killing that particular thing that you're trying to prove exists.
My preference would be to locate a hunter who has shot and killed one, and perhaps because he thought he killed a valuable animal or a peculiar human, he might not have said anything about it. But if he would
All
come
right,
forward,
Dick Cheney,
perhaps we
let's
could
just
examine
calm
the place
down
where
for
he
a
killed it, and we
second.
might find a few bones, and then the whole thing is settled right there. If we don't find such an old kill, then the only alternative remaining is to kill one now. And grisly as that sounds,
And it's out for
I think
blood.
that is probably what we'll have to do.
I would
Dude, I think we just like found real footage of the Zodiac killer.
reconsider that, especially if he thinks he's going to do it in this county, because we would enforce the ordinance.
Why add more controversy to something that's already controversial?
It looks like he
What
plays
we
with
have to
fire.
have is a specimen for
Guy
scientific
that just wants to set
identification.
stuff on fire.
I think it would be morally wrong. I see no reason. In fact, I talked to a small boy, a schoolboy recently, and he said some people say shoot one to prove that they're there. And then he said, supposing the one they shoot is the last one.
Well, my answer to that is if they become extinct, so what? If they're not proven, it doesn't make any difference.
We have a lot of animals that became extinct in the past, and there's nothing we can do about it. And if this animal remains
Wait, is this a
unaccepted,
scientist with
who cares if it becomes extinct?
They're obviously rare. There are not very many of them.
I don't know.
And as we see them, they could be a hominid
Well, if you shoot
form.
one
It
of
could
them
be a
and then
man.
they become
To shoot
extinct,
one would
then-
be totally wrong. And we are totally opposed to this philosophy.
Hey, it's
While
messy.
men ponder the dilemma, to kill or not to kill, many Indians wonder why this preoccupation with proving Bigfoot exists. To the Indian, there is no doubt. Many,
They
like
have much
Mrs.
bigger
Joe
problems
Washington,
to worry
see the
about than
hunt for
Sasquatch.
Bigfoot just another intrusion into their sacred past.
You'll never be able to, you might say, civilize him like the white man done to us. He's somebody that belongs in the area that he chooses to live in. And if someone did bring him down...
She's an Indian.
Trying to be an Indian.
She is a First Nations people.
Maybe she was. She sounded
he'd
very
never
white to me, though.
adapt to your way or even mine.
Lawrence?
Because his way of life is entirely different from ours.
I have high cheekbones,
Mine
Warren.
and yours. And I always felt so bad when I hear of Sasquatch hunters
Yeah, dude, that's totally
that
a fake.
say they're going to photograph this man.
Did you just say
Or
Sasquatch
most
hunter?
of them refer to him as an animal.
I heard the word
And
Sasquatch
from the
hunter.
stories and things that I was taught by my people,
$5.
that he is not an animal, he's not a savage, he's a gentle being that just goes about his own way, collecting his own food,
Strong, silent type.
clothing,
Tall, dark, and
and lives
handsome.
where he chooses.
Notice this is before all the Bigfoot calls. Bagged him. Well, boys, we got him.
It's just the end.
Man, with his ingenuity and machinery, continues to stalk this creature. A creature described by the Indians as a gentle being, wanting to live in peace in his own habitat. A creature some scientists believe is a link to centuries long past.
The gorilla is mentioned in Greek mythology going back hundreds and hundreds of years, and yet it was not discovered until the late 18th century. And the subspecies, the mountain gorilla, was not identified until early 1900. And there are other examples. The fossil fish that was discovered in the Indian Ocean only a few years ago, believed to be extinct for 80 million years. This is the coelacanth, and now it's known to still live off the coast of Africa.
That's a sweet-looking fish, too.
Is that the case with Bigfoot? Is this creature really a relative of the Gigantopithecus, a primate that lived over 1 million years ago in China? The land lends itself to hide such a creature.
Land bridge, China.
There is food for it to survive.
China.
I thought he said that
It does not
like
need
it was
man.
a Chinese. I don't know.
But it may have to die at the hands of man to prove to him that there is such a thing called Bigfoot.
Thank you.
If
We assume that Bigfoot is real and that men are closing in on this seemingly gentle monster, then we must prepare for that first meeting. To have eluded us for so long, Bigfoot must understand men very well. The burden will be on us to understand him. Bigfoot may well be waiting for some sign that we're ready.
He's a lady.
That was it.
Boom.
We made it.
Right to the point. We actually finished something.
Oh. All the way through.
Well, I feel like that was a...
That was a lot better.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's Amelia Earhart.
Hey, they actually had
Pretty
like
catchy.
actual investigators on both sides of the Bigfoot aisle. You know what I'm saying? Want to shoot Bigfoot? Whatever.
It's almost like this is the exact same stuff that they're talking about now. What?
What are you talking about?
60 years ago, some of the questions, like, oh, we can only get him if we get him alive. Yeah. Like, oh, we're gonna get him.
Yeah. But they're talking, I don't know, they brought up some good points, though. It wasn't just my old dog named Jeff in the backwoods talking about his Bigfoot encounter.
Oh, my goodness.
No, we're looking at the werewolf people. I don't know, it just autoplayed to the next video.
Sorry, guys.
Distracted.
Distracted about werewolf people. Leonard Nimoy, he's a buttery voice. Oh my!
What? that was an M. Night Shyamalan twist right there.
That guy's
Yeah,
checking
that's
him
Dracula,
out,
baby.
How you doing?
What is this about? Just hair in general.
It's probably about vampires or.
Oh yeah.
That is
Probably, like,
that's the guy
vampires
that.
and stuff. Yeah. Either way, the camera's about to die, so we gotta finish this off.
Oh, this was actually decent. Leonard Nimoy came through.
Yeah, it wasn't just a whole bunch of random Bigfoot stuff, you know.
Or a complete nature documentary with some very fake Bigfoot.
All right. Well,
more stuff out there.
Yeah, we'll get some more stuff out for you guys.
Hopefully you found this as enjoying as we found it.
Yeah, hopefully we can do this more and find some more cool stuff to do.
Oh yeah, we're definitely stuff. Search our roots, our history.
Yeah, so you know, all the things. Follow. However you listen or watch to us, just keep in touch. And
I've heard of hitting that like button, smashing the like button. I want you to get over there and give it a go pimp slap. Pimp slap that like button. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by, guys. Yep. And we will see you next time.
See ya.
This has been a production of The Midnight Odyssey. If you like what you listen to, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel as we release more content for you. If you're listening to podcasts only, please subscribe. But for both of you cool cats and kittens out there, if you could share it to people you think you would like or enjoy podcasts like this, we would appreciate it because we love what we're doing here. And yeah, you have a fantastic rest of your day.